I grew up hearing the phrase over and over again that money doesn't grow on trees.
Yes, indeed.
But I would love to know where it does grow. We're taught to work hard, to save, and to watch the pennies. And it's things that we learn in the youth of our life that we carry forward. But I'm bringing you on today as an expert in maybe where money does grow. So maybe you can give us the clues on where it's all hidden. But welcome to Unscripted, Satyarth. It is lovely to have you here.
Yeah, and I'm grateful to you as well, Sonia. It's great indeed being here on your podcast. So yeah, let's kick off. The first thing you mentioned about money doesn't grow on trees.
Yes.
Oh, but it does grow. There are ways you make sure it grows. It becomes, it balloons. Everything happens, but it has to be done, and it has to be done with a plan, with thinking, and many things. But let's just say, we'll unwrap each of it as we go ahead today.
So before we dive into the money talk for today, tell me a little bit about you and how we got here.
Okay. So I'm a CFA charter holder, a wealth consultant. I work with HNIs and new HNIs, handle their wealth, spend time working with the wealthy. The aim isn't always growing money because it has to serve something. Sometimes it's also about protection of assets. Sometimes it is making sure that the money is there when you need it. Sometimes liquidity might be a concern. The idea isn't only about returns, it's about security, it's about access. And this is where a lot of people usually mess up things, and that's where I come in. I help people understand their financial goals and allocate their assets accordingly, making sure that their path towards their goal is smooth. Probably it could be a child's education, it could be estate planning, could be retirement, and sometimes it could simply be, just making sure that you're able to take off that vacation without any stress. Regarding me, currently based out of Dubai, shifted here recently. When it comes to what I've studied back in college, I did my master's in Sanskrit, graduation and post-graduation in Sanskrit.
So this isn't a finance thing, then this was language, is that correct?
Well, you can call it serendipity. Sanskrit and finance both require precision, accuracy, and an eye for the detail. I wouldn't expect anyone reading a manuscript who isn't accurate and precise. Nonetheless, when I just completed high school, I was inclined towards studying comparative linguistics. Second year college, my father passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries. But I was left with a small sum of money, just the two of us at home, me and my mother. I really didn't know what to do, and I went to the bank. They told me you could deposit your money with us, and we'll hand you a quarterly interest on it. Oh, when I calculated it, my first response was either I, take a beating in the lifestyle, or I need to start earning soon. And it wasn't a pleasant way to think about it. And that's when I started working around the numbers. Went to the insurance brokers, went to post offices, went to different institutions who manage money, asking for one additional percentage. And one time when I was back in the bank, someone introduced something called a mutual fund, a branch manager. She got me around to sign a small sum of money for it, and they sent the risk disclosure documents home. This is the pre-COVID era. Mm-hmm. So at that time, it wasn't that digitized.
Yes.
They sent in the documents home, and a 50-page booklet came with it. I happen to be a voracious reader, so no one does it. And I don't know how this comes across, but I actually read the entire document.
Okay, that you're probably the one and only person in the entire world that has probably read the documents that comes from the bank.
So yeah, that document came, and I went through the entire document, and by the time I was turned the last leaf of the booklet, the simple idea was, if someone can manage money, there's a professional way of doing it. And that snowballed. It had the dominoes effect, and since then I started studying everything about finance. By the time I wrote my CFA and I opened the CFA syllabus, I knew about 70% of it, and I really don't know how. It's just through reading and unstructured learning. But yeah, that's how it's been till date, Sonia.
It just, I suppose, sparked an interest in you. I think your circumstances led you to that path.
Yes,
and
indeed.
I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely.
Like, even like our meeting.
Oh, yes, indeed.
You and your lovely wife were fresh in Dubai. I was so excited that I had met someone that had been here less time than me, because I'm usually the baby in Dubai. But you just arrived and we've met, and what a wonderful connection I have with you and your wife, and we're going to do wonderful work together. And I believe all of that happened
absolutely
for a reason, and we're here now getting to have a chat.
And for the record, we met right in front of Burj Khalifa at the 63rd floor on an evening when the fountain show was on.
Yeah.
So, if you write down the description, it has to make, it has to be written down in golden words.
Yeah. So tell me, the wealth management then, I mean, when I hear that term, like, I have an automatic thought that is for only the really rich people. I think I probably have like other people could have a bias, a viewpoint on this, that it's just for a certain type of person. Absolutely. But I believe I'm probably wrong. So maybe talk me through it.
Okay. So, there's a famous quote in banks and probably in the world of real estate as well, that the best rates of loan are given to those people who don't need it. When it comes to finance, wealth management as a term is an umbrella term. The idea sometimes is to make sure that every person out there in the world has a sufficient amount of financial literacy as well. That's what financial inclusion is all about. We really, if we are only catering to the wealthy, what purpose are we actually serving? And one more thing, sometimes people only make sure that they have a certain net worth, and only then they themselves start financial planning. It's not like that. You have to get to a point, and getting that point also requires financial planning, sticking to the principles. We have had people who have been in negative net worth, but with proper planning, today they are millionaires and billionaires.
I think it's probably something I would struggle with, because I have perhaps got blocks around it on, I don't know, I suppose the best way to explain. I'm trying to understand my own thinking around money, but
got it.
I had a guest recently and we talked about good debt and bad debt, and again, I grew up being told that debt was bad.
Yeah, you're scared of it.
Yeah.
Many people are. Okay. Normally, when you go out to shop something, okay, let's say a piece of soap, a cake of soap, you do your research, you check the value, you make sure it fits in your skin type as well. Should have some add-ons, like should have fragrance, aroma, and probably maybe you also look for a brand. So we spend about 250 to 300 hours each year on thinking how we spend every dollar. But we spend less than 2 hours a year actually thinking what to do with the dollars not spent. How are we saving it? Where is it going? In which instrument is it going? Is it going towards gold? Is it going towards real estate? Is my portfolio too concentrated? We really don't think about it.
Why are the
And
scales different then? Why are we back to front?
yes, indeed. But that's, well, the first thing is, before people bring about a change, is to look at things from this kind of a perspective, seeing things inside out. And this happens because of a lot of biases that we have around. We spend a penny, it creates something known as loss aversion. We feel the pain of losing the penny than the joy of making sure that the penny grows more. And because that happens, that's probably one of the most famous biases, loss aversion bias, penned down by Daniel and Kahneman. They ended up winning the Nobel Prize for it. Thinking Fast and Slow, a book I think every finance student should, and not only every finance student, everyone who wants financial literacy should, go through every single line of it. But coming back to where we were, it so happens is we fear loss, we fear spending money, and because we do that, we make sure it's well planned. We make sure that we spend time going through coupons, through offers. We spend time budgeting. Sometimes even if we don't spend time budgeting, we still make sure that we see multiple options before picking up something. But probably we simply believe what the bank says and we just put our money in a deposit account. That's all. And the money stays idle.
Do you think, I deal with investors and end users in my job, and when I'm dealing with both types of client, one would like to believe that their decisions around their investment aren't emotional.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe when it comes to finances, there's so much emotion
Absolutely
within it. And can you get to a point where you're more analytical about it? How do you manage your emotions through finances?
Okay. So there are two kinds of biases that are really famous. One is a cognitive bias. The second is an emotional bias. We do so because every time money is around, we feel something. We sometimes feel good about spending, but we feel bad about overspending. We feel good whenever we get a deal, but we really feel bad when we pay our taxes.
Yeah.
And because that happens, let's just think about it. A very simple way to think is when it comes to emotional investing is a herd mentality. We sometimes, that there's this famous word across people nowadays, FOMO, the fear of missing
Yeah.
out. And because of this, people simply want to be part of the next gold rush.
Mm-hmm.
And because they want to be part of the next gold rush, they simply look around what people are doing, probably their friends, their colleagues, their bosses, or people on the newspaper or people online, and they simply go ahead with it. And when it comes to reading through the fine print, people don't. When it comes to discussing things with a financial advisor, people simply think that, no, I'll simply focus on the return. I'll simply focus on making sure I get into the asset, and they take the decision. It's not a well-informed decision, leave alone a wise one. And one thing I mentioned, the first one is herd mentality, but that's only one of the many emotional biases around.
So I think the biases fascinate me because we talked on this before.
Yes, indeed. But as they say, humans are creatures of emotion, not creatures of logic. So sometimes even when we have logical principles against us, we love to find out information or specifically pick information which confirms with our existing ideas and in turn confirms with our existing investments. We really wouldn't like to listen to anything against it. You buy a piece of land, no matter what, you wouldn't like to listen against it. You simply want to make sure that you read that very news article which says, oh my God, this is where the next development is going to be. This is where the next price appreciation is going to be. So this kind of a confirmation bias is really inherent in people.
And is it inherited? Is it just that things pass along through generations and we just...
Yes. And that happens because I mentioned human beings are creatures of emotion, not creatures of logic.
What would one behavioral bias be that would make me, that to understand, that would make me a better investor? Would it be that confirmation bias, or?
Well, there's a whole set of things, but let's just say if someone was to start with something, there is something known as the anchoring bias. So usually, whatever we are passed on from a previous generation or things we discuss around the house, we simply anchor to it. We simply anchor to probably the first piece of information that we have.
Can you give me an example?
Okay, so we discuss about everyone knows the probably the rate of interest you get from a deposit account. You also know that real estate appreciates. But why do you know real estate appreciates? If someone hasn't been in real estate or someone is new to it, it's probably something which is passed on by his parents or his parents' parents. And at that time, there was no inflation. Because there was no inflation, probably, and there weren't a plethora of assets around, that was the best thing. People used to simply think, a classic example is, people think they'll buy a piece of land or they'll invest in gold for their child's education in the same country where they are staying. And if they want to send their children abroad, and the investment is not a dollar investment, if the investment is not in the country where they want to send their child in, we simply have an asset liability mismatch. You are investing in an economy which may have its own struggles, and you want to send your kids somewhere which is a developed economy, somewhere. So probably, investing in that economy would make more sense than actually doing it in your home country. That's kind of, you're simply anchored onto your home country in that case. You simply don't want to look into other options. You want to diversify, but are you really diversifying if all your investments are in one economy?
Not really, because you're stuck with blinkers on, unable to see the bigger picture. I suppose it's as a good investor, being fit to zoom out and look at the wider picture, and not have tunnel vision. The bias stuff does fascinate me. I think it's really interesting, but then it's human behavior.
Absolutely.
Do we think that people want money, or just the feeling that they have from having it, or what it represents?
I would love to speak on this, and you need to pull me out if you feel I'm going down a rabbit hole, because
we only have like probably another 40 minutes. If you
I could speak on for the next few years on this topic. Okay, so coming back to the point. Okay, it's a bit complicated. It's not complicated, but
I think there's layers.
It becomes there are layers to it. So back in the time. Well, real estate is actually an asset. So let's get one thing straight in that. And it appreciates like an equity, and it's cash flowing, and you get money out of it. You can derive income out of it as well. Okay. Back in the day, people used to buy real estate sometimes to show off. It made sense. It was a status symbol. Having the biggest house was a status. Having land, acres of land with gardens in it, garden gardens, or probably commercial land, commercial plots. They really made sense. But that was a generation before. Now, just to make sure that status symbol is maintained, people are not investing in assets. They are, probably taking a matcha off the counter. Something of the growth of a micro status symbol has emerged, where consumption has actually come out to be a status symbol. So what you mentioned is about when it comes to the feeling. If you're really deriving the feeling of money out of consumption, it's probably not the best way to go about it. That's a basic principle. Nothing against beautiful collectibles or handbags, or as a matter of fact, partying or travel. But if you're doing it only to show off, then our ancestors were well off when it came to real estate. They simply bought the land and it was a great show off.
Yeah.
It appreciated.
Just as time moves on, there's different.
And this is a change across society. This change has come about due to a number of factors. One reason of it has been globalization, a growth in population in certain metropolises. So due to concentration of population, people, the real estate sometimes becomes unaffordable. You might be knowing more about it than me. But that's when people start craving for that status symbol, and they go in for micro status symbols, which are technically nothing but a form of consumption.
Yeah.
And
like back in Ireland, the question used to be like, how many acres? How many acres do they have? You're joking if or you're trying to date someone, and it was always, well, how many acres? Because we're all like the country. Whereas here, I suppose in Dubai, the status and things is like, what car does someone drive? And it's materialistic things. And look, there's nothing wrong with people that drive nice cars and everything, but it all depends on what their goal is and what they're trying to achieve. But I think, again, it all comes back to the emotion and the emotion that money gives you, or the status, but it's looking inwards.
Absolutely. The inside out perspective.
Yeah. Can someone, and I think this is probably true, someone can be financially wealthy but have a poor relationship with money?
It's tough, but I've seen it. It doesn't happen with everyone, but there is a substantial chunk of people who happen to be wealthy because the wealth comes from sources they initially don't understand. So inheritance is one example, but let's just say another example, and something which has been famous these days, are the stock compensation people get with their pay. So they have a salary, they have a bonus on top of it, but they also have the company gives out some equity to them. So the company, interestingly, has thought about a way to making sure that they are able to accumulate wealth in the long run. But this becomes a risky factor later on. If all your wealth is tied to one tech stock, one AI stock, if the bubble crashes, what happens next? And this becomes, and not only is there a single style of concentration in this, you would see a double concentration, because if the person is working in the same company and has stock of the same company, if something were to go wrong with the company, not only would his stock or the wealth decline, but he might also face a threat to his existing job. So the income source also faces the same threat that is being faced by the company's stock that the person has got. This is one example which I see especially common and prevalent these days, because companies have been working to make sure they scale up their operations, and to do that they give out equity compensation. It's a fair way to make sure that everyone makes money, but if it's not properly managed, someone might be in a phase of their life financially wealthy but not have a good relationship with money. It might not be well allocated, but your net worth on paper might be liquid, assets are secure, and the returns probably look good because your company has had an excellent run in the few years. And that creates an illusion around.
Yeah, on paper, everything
on paper,
looks,
yes.
Yeah. But when you again zoom out, it's not smart.
It's not smart.
To have all your eggs in one basket, as they would say.
Yeah.
So as a wealth manager, then your role is to do a deep dive into all parts of the person's life, and I suppose figure out who they are.
Yes, absolutely.
And what their goals are.
That is so important.
Are you seeing clients that come to you? Because for me, we've obviously met and you were like, we need to have a session. I'm thinking, I'm 41. I don't need to be doing planning. But I know I do. But that's just my own blocks again around it all. But do you have a range of clients that you see them coming at a certain stage in their life? Or are you seeing that narrative change where you're getting younger people coming through to future plan? How does your client base look?
Okay, so yes, uh, the client base is slightly lopsided naturally to those people who are in their mid 30s to 50s. That's where it begins. It should ideally begin in mid 20s, but those kind of people keep financial planning on the back burner. And because they think probably we'll do it tomorrow or the next week or the next month or the next year, uh, they might be knowing about concepts around financial planning, probably due to the boom in social media, multiple LinkedIn posts, being bombarded by Instagram reels on it, um, but they don't take action, and they don't sit down with a financial advisor. They are yet to bring in the patience. Usually this dawns on people when they're in the mid 30s, progressing well in their careers, bit settled down, married, probably have a kid, and they're planning to buy a house. Usually, when it comes to planning to buy a house, that's when people start thinking about their finances. In rare cases, it might happen when people face a threat in their job.
I was going to say, is it something you see when they've hit a crisis of some sort?
Yes.
Because that's when people take
Oh,
action.
absolutely.
Because fear kicks in.
Yes.
And that's another emotional driver for
People,
change.
people dig a well only when they know that the fire is coming.
That's your fight or flight.
It happens mostly in fight or flight situations. But well, if you get on someone early, I've seen people even in their late 20s, if they come around and they sit down, take a while, they it really compounds. The wealth begins to compound at a faster rate than you really think.
Well, you're getting in earlier.
Yes, by getting in earlier.
Yeah, your rate of return should be better because you're investing more time.
Yes, indeed.
And as a wealth manager, then what are you looking at for them when I come to you? Let's start. Talk me through the process.
Okay. Well, the first thing is the person should be ready to disclose a lot of things. So the first thing is there really trust? Everything has to happen on trust. The person should be ready to sit down for a talk, to sit down for a financial fact find. The person, if someone is just fooling around, it's a different thing. But let's just say if a person, and it might take a while to actually get to know the person, because whatever is built around has to be tailored and customized. Look, I really cannot classify investments as good or bad, and I absolutely cannot classify assets as good and bad. Gold is an excellent asset. Real estate has the best returns since the last 150 years. Developed economies are good, stocks are good, bonds are good. But the point is, how appropriate is something for you? Are you over allocated to something? Are you under allocated to something? And because this kind of a talk has to happen, it's important to know the client's whole picture. You have to look at the big picture to give an advice. If someone is it's simply generic, we could be sitting here and simply discussing 4 stocks, and I could discuss their valuation and say this is the next big stock, and everything could happen. But who would it serve? It wouldn't
there's no
serve an
guarantee.
individual. The idea is an investment shouldn't be an add-on in your portfolio. It shouldn't be something that a broker makes fees out of it. It shouldn't be something that you did a transaction, it becomes a taxable event, the government makes money out of it. It shouldn't be that way. The idea of an investment is it should be a solution to your financial problem. If it comes across as a solution, it's good. Otherwise, it's just an add-on. And no point in just doing add-ons and and there's a quote, make sure you diversify only enough to not divorcify. So you need to make sure that you don't divorce your finances in the procedure. So people need to sit down, they need to take a while around, they need to make sure that they list down their financial goals. I mean, just thinking something is a dream. You put it down on paper, it becomes a goal. It becomes real. It comes to life. And then naturally, if someone has done that, we'll find a way around. And not a way around, a way till the Everest.
And do you think that now you're in Dubai, do you see a change in how people manage money compared to Mumbai since you've moved?
Yes.
Is there a change? Because like, obviously in Ireland, it's very different.
Yes.
And Dubai is so fast paced,
Yes.
and there's a lot of wealth here.
Absolutely. Okay, so when it comes to some basic peculiarities across people, Mumbai and Dubai, one thing I've noticed is back in India, people are only concentrated in their home country. It's a good idea, works well until and unless you plan to stay there and your kids plan to stay there. The issue that a lot of people in India faces, they're investing in the same country, but they want to make sure that at a certain point of time the child goes to Dubai or goes to US or some other country, and because there is that need to fly abroad. Having a home portfolio, a local portfolio isn't enough. Having a global portfolio is enough. In Dubai, because Dubai is a gateway to international investing, people in Dubai at least understand or at least have knowledge about what a global portfolio is. I'm not saying that Indians are not concerned about it. They do understand it's a concern. There have been excellent developments in Gift City in India. That's where they have set up free zones. People are able to invest abroad. But that's one side of it. When it comes to the second peculiarity, this is where kind of the numbers also don't add up. In Dubai, even when people understand about global portfolios, they don't have a habit of saving for the next day. And Indians happen to be the best breed when it comes to saving money across the world. And I can say that with panache. They save for the future. They save for a rainy day. They save for the kids. They save for the kids' kids. Yes, and there's no doubt about it at all. So the savings are good. In fact, Indians, there has been a good deal of financial inclusion as well. The government and the private players both have made sure that a lot of services are democratized. They have reached the people. So we have got a few things in line, and but there are still a few missing pieces in the puzzle that has to be solved. When it comes to Dubai, the idea is, sometimes people are there at level 1. I mean, are you really saving? If you're not saving, what do you invest?
Well, this if you don't have anything saved, I mean, I am not a saver. There's no. You're asking to do a portfolio on me, and I'm like, oh. I'm holding fire, but I'm not a saver.
Got it.
I do. It comes down to my relationship with money, and that I've always probably had blocks around it. And then even when I started in this career, and there's no real ceiling for what you can earn in real estate, but I couldn't see that when I first started. And my boss asked me, what was my goal? If you were to ask me, I still would struggle to put a number on it because of my own blocks around money that I've had for years. But he asked me my goal, and I said a number, and he said, no, you're not thinking big enough. And I thought, oh, because I think sometimes you can hold yourself back and what you are capable of earning. But when I did my first deal, and he said to me, now do you understand? And I was like, yeah, no, I get it. I get a little bit better. I'm still not.
Got it.
I'm still not right in it. But your clients then, in terms of diversifying and looking at all their portfolios, is it it feels like it's a very serious role. And it ties up the bits and pieces that they need in their life. But do you think it makes them happier?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I've seen people when they begin their financial journey, 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line. Oh, yes. In fact, not only happiness, a sense of security starts to come in, even with high returns and a certain amount of risk. They are well aligned to themselves. They are able to take decisions boldly, and they are able to take a vacation off without any guilt. Yes, because they have the numbers in line, the kind of confidence, even the confidence compounds, you know. And then I've seen people, once they begin financial planning, they are no more desperate in their jobs, and they do better in their jobs because they're not desperate. It's not. I'm not saying the hunger dies down, but they know what is to be done, and they know at what pace. Once they know at what pace, they begin to control. And once, I believe, a person gets control of his life, that results in happiness.
I think it's the core foundations, though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
As you're talking there, that's what I can just kind of see in my mind.
Yes.
It's getting those core foundations lined up, which gives them the security to allow them then to be, I suppose, more open to taking risks. I think there's also a lot around how people view risk when it comes to finances. And I don't know whether you agree with this, but I think men are less risk adverse than some. I think some women. I feel that some women
I would agree with that.
aren't. We're not risk takers. I am so logical. I need to know all of the steps in my mind. And even though I've made lots of big moves in my life where people think that I've just made them off, like in the spur of the moment, they haven't been. They have been mapped out within an inch of their life within my mind. But I think, do you find that when you're dealing with clients that men are a little more open to taking risks when it comes to their finances?
Yes, absolutely. And what you laid down makes a lot of sense. And if you take a step back and think about it, sometimes I feel like blaming it all onto evolution as well. The way human species have evolved has a classic answer of what you just mentioned. Men as hunters and women as food gatherers, and that's why women have an ability to save more. They have a habit of keeping aside for a rainy day, and probably because men were the hunters, eons ago. They still have that habit that it's time we make a killing. And because making that killing basically implies taking on risk, it happens. However, when it comes to financial planning, I always recommend people that they both sit down together, the man and the woman. Both. It's important for both. And if you simply you turn up our old textbooks. You remember this line that the basic unit of economics is a household. It's not an individual. And because it's a household, it is important that all the decision makers in the household, probably if for example, we have 2-3 generations living together, then I also recommend not only the husband and the wife, but if there is another decision taker, probably their parent, they all should sit down together. But usually, it so happens that if man and woman sit together, the decisions are well aligned.
Well, I was just going to say, is it not just the woman that's actually the decision maker? If we're being honest, really, obviously things are a partnership, but I do think when I'm dealing with clients, it's the wife that holds a lot of the weight.
Well,
happy life, happy wife, and
absolutely,
all of that.
absolutely, and I would absolutely agree with it. And because the reins are somewhere always with the wife, as I mentioned, she's been the gatherer. If she's been the one who's saving up, she's been the one who's been taking care of the household finances. She has a heavier say than what the man has, and we could go on with these gender roles over and out, but the final verdict still lies is if both of them sit together, that's when a lot of things would start making sense. That's when there would be alignment, and having alignment amongst couples. Statistically speaking, the number one reason why couples fight, the number one reason is money. I just don't get it. I mean, why are you doing it? Sit down, do financial planning, get it out. I mean, all you require is probably a couple of hours on a weekend. No more than that, and has to be allocated once every 6 months.
I just had an idea on how you can get some new clients. Relationship counselling.
Oh,
I can see the marketing campaign.
we have people who come across who come to us with all sorts of questions, and once once a financial advisor is with you, if you think about it, he becomes your well-wisher. And because he becomes your well-wisher, people come up with strange requests all the time. I have people who are asking, okay, I need to negotiate this with my boss. How should I do it? I need to demand for an equity compensation. How should I do it? We both are planning this kind of a vacation. How should we do it? Or probably this one more thing happens is we're planning our insurances together. How should we do it? And we have a whole set of questions which sometimes might not be related to finance, but it happens is they start bringing up all their aspects or concerns is because of a kind of bonding between the financial advisor and the household.
It's building that trust.
It's about building in the trust.
I
Absolutely.
was a equestrian coach back in Ireland, which we've talked about, and
Lovely, yes.
all my clients were kids, and I was very ingrained in all of the families, and because I had a bond with the kids and a level of respect in that role, the parents used to ring and say, look, they won't do their homework. Can you get them to do their homework? Or, I need you to get them to do this. I need you to do
Absolutely.
But it's that relationship that has been built over time and the trust, and you're ingrained. So you're really with people, not just here's your plan, toodaloo, see you later.
No.
You're there through
through the entire journey, through multiple milestones.
But how does that make you feel to be part of that? Do you still get, because it feels like you went into finances because of a necessity to provide, and it sparked some joy or some interest in you to change into this career, your circumstances years ago. How does it feel for you now when you are working with people and they hit those milestones? Are you as invested in that as them?
Absolutely. And when it comes to this, when the first part, what you asked about was the circumstances of coming into finance. Well, probably, I don't know. Being a reader, I mentioned that point. Once I started reading finance and going through financial literature, it just took a moment to understand that, that's where my calling is. And I just couldn't stop page after page. And once you start reading through every single thing, books become a habit of that specific literature. And since then, finance has been with me. I think the decision was really, it came across so quickly. I didn't have to ponder onto it. And and since then I've never turned back. It's something I really enjoy. It's probably finance is one of the only fields where when I lose track of time when reading or studying something about it, or sometimes even speaking to my clients. Time management is probably the most important skill for us. But in a meeting, even if I'm mindful of the time, it has been multiple times I lose track because, when a connection forms, it becomes ethereal. And sometimes things start to sublime in this manner. You're with a client for long, he hits his milestone, like, oh yes. It's literally like seeing your favorite football team win. Absolutely.
You're as invested in it as them.
Oh yes.
But I think that's important when you're in a career. You have to. A lot of people do jobs that they're not happy in.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that is widespread across the world, and people settle. And I've talked about this on my last episode of the podcast about people staying stuck. And for me, I suppose, not that I've not known what I want to do in life, but I have done lots of different things, and it's allowed me to become multi-skilled and learn lots about myself and get it wrong and get it right. But you knew at a fairly young age that the thing that you wanted to do and have locked into that, which is, I think, is rare. You know, I think as we grow up, we're told we have to figure out what we want to be from a young age. And I think I've always kind of had a block on that, because I think you should be allowed to adapt. Have you never wanted to sway out of finances, or has it always just been that? Nothing else?
Always been that. For some reason. I don't have an answer to it, but sometimes it's like after spending a day in office, I really don't mind tuning in back again to a finance book. Yeah,
really?
yes. And and some of these books are, I mean, I don't know how it happened, but they reached the corner of my bed as well. So bedtime stories, somehow, if I feel I haven't read sufficient for the day, I would dump a bedtime story book and read something about finance.
You clearly have a thirst for learning with it. I mean, I don't know how to. I absorb lots of things and get very locked in on parts of my life, but I definitely can't say I'm as committed to it all as your good self. But what's the biggest lie that people believe about wealth?
That's a question. The biggest lie people believe about wealth is they feel that this dollar has come by easily, and they can even if they spend it in a rash manner, nothing is going to happen. To give you a fair example of what I mean is people spend time doing something known as mental accounting. So a lie they speak to themselves, or they cheat themselves, is you think about spending your paycheck, but if you get a tax refund, how reckless are you? And if you're being reckless at that point, you're cheating. You've just lied to yourself that, look, this wasn't my money. I did not spend and toil for this. The IT department has given it back as a refund. I'm going to blow it up.
This is girl maths.
This is
I'm like, oh no. Whoa, my question. I'm like, I've set myself up to feel I am such a fan of girl maths.
Gosh. looks like this thing has completely beaten the point of your podcast.
Oh, we need to quit. No, I do love girl maths.
I agree with that.
You agree it's a good thing?
Sometimes yes, because at the end of the day, human beings are creatures of emotion, right? So absolutely.
I think we need little glimmers and moments of where it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, and whatever. If you're not harming anyone, that's me justifying girl maths now.
Agreed.
If you're not harming anyone, then what's the harm in it?
I would love to endorse it when it comes to probably a couple of dirhams. But let's just say when we are discussing thousands and millions of them, I would simply pull the brakes.
Well, when
it comes to a few dirhams here and there, it's all natural. If it's change, if it's pennies, that's okay. That no worries there. No point penny pinching. It wouldn't lead you anywhere. But let's just say when it comes to important decisions, somewhere or the other, every financial decision we take is actually a vote for or against our future. So, when we discuss about this harm, when let's just say lots of money is involved, or probably recurring money is involved, that's when there will be some harm to your older self.
I think when it comes to the little everyday bits, then it's okay. But you have to look at, as you say, when it's a big investment, something that's life changing.
It's not about big. Okay, to put it in a simple analogy, think about it as health. Sometimes taking in one chocolate, 2 of them is okay. Sometimes taking one cheat meal a week is absolutely normal, and sometimes it has to be there for the glamour, for the happiness, for the adrenaline. But if you were to munch on chocolates and ice creams daily, no amount of girl math can add up to that.
No,
It's the same thing. Yeah, once a
Yeah.
while, it's absolutely okay.
Yeah.
And there has to be that human touch, right?
Yeah.
We at the end of the day, finances and money is there to serve us. It's there as a means to an end. So yes, absolutely, it makes sense. But as I mentioned, if it becomes a habit, it's an
Yeah.
issue. If the amounts are large, too big, it's an issue. Yeah,
Well, for now, I'm only girl math and small things, so it's fine.
it's absolutely
Yeah.
fine. And you happen to be fit yourself. So if I were to switch the topic to
Yeah.
health, you would agree with me. When was the
absolutely.
last time you had a whole tub of ice cream?
I mean, let's not do that in the podcast. No, no, it's everything in moderation.
Absolutely,
That's the key.
That's the case.
Why do you think people are bad with money then?
So a reason for that is something known as an availability heuristic. So I hope I've not become too technical, but I'll just explain the meaning of heuristic. Basically, our brain has a habit of taking shortcuts while making decisions. It makes a lot of sense when we go around our day-to-day lives. If your brain doesn't take shortcuts, trust me, we would be literally thinking how to open the door.
Like
We would-
driving your car.
Driving your
things-
car,
yeah.
tying your shoelaces.
It has to
getting ready.
bypass,
Yes,
yeah.
it has to bypass it. So that's how the matured mind works. But because of this, we have a certain set of things known as rules of thumb. Rules of thumb help us take a lot of decisions really quickly. But when we apply that into finance, that's where a lot of issues start to crop around. If you simply do it because the other person is doing it, that's rule of thumb, right? Almost all our biases have erupted from this because we feel that the decision we take is too fast. Take a moment, and not only think about it, get two opinions on it. When it comes to our health, we take two opinions. Even if we have a family doctor, we sometimes think, how about having our lab report reviewed by another set of eyes? Am I right? And because that happens, when it comes to finance, probably we simply agree to what the bank said. We simply would have read a hoarding or an advertisement. We simply agree to it. And if someone has said to be away from this style of asset, probably our parents or someone, the fear is instilled. These are all rules of thumb. And because they're rules of thumb, we take a decision based on that. The decision goes wrong. It's not an optimal decision. Yeah. So if you would, it's more about spending some time, having some patience with it.
Do you think that is what allows wealthy people to stand out?
Oh yes, they spend a lot of time thinking. They are fast in execution, but they spend hours thinking over their decisions. They have a habit of pondering, and especially pondering before the decision is taken. So you might have seen people. In fact, this is a trait shared by millionaires and billionaires. They have a habit of brainstorming. They have a habit of thinking over things, of sleeping over things. And once they take the decision, they are the fastest in execution. So they don't think about the execution. That happens the fastest. But before that is when they spend their time thinking. And that's what leads to good decisions. So and that's how they grow ahead. As I mentioned, every decision taken is a vote for or against your future. The decision taken, if it's well thought of, it makes sense.
And it is just allowing yourself to be patient and understand the right moves for yourself, but giving yourself the correct support. Do you think money changes people or exposes who they already are?
Yes, the latter. It doesn't change you as a person. It simply amplifies who you are. I mean, sorry to say, but I mean, if you're not a good person by heart, more money will just make you a bigger asshole. That's what is going to happen.
Yeah.
And
It's just going to turn the
other-
volume up on
Yes,
it.
it will simply turn the volume up.
Yeah.
And because money helps achieve a lot of things, arrange a lot of things, if someone is kind-hearted by nature, really good, wants to help people, the moment that money comes, it becomes a catalyst for that same thing. So it doesn't change. Human nature is the same everywhere. It wouldn't change. It simply amplifies.
Yeah. Whether you are a millionaire or you haven't got any money at all.
Absolutely.
It all comes down to who you
Yes.
are at your core.
Yes.
And I think people understanding themselves is probably the key thing. And for you in your role, your job is massively to understand the person
Yes.
and how they think and how they show up in things.
Yes.
In terms of what you help them diversify into, gold, stock, how do you recommend the best move for someone?
Well, because it is customized, the best way to start is to list down the goals, as I mentioned. Probably take some time to quantify them as well. Leave the adjustment for inflation and all those things onto me and the calculator. But that's the first step. And once you have the goals, now there are 4 quadrants in a financial profile of any person. You have your assets and your liabilities, basically your real estate, your accounts, and if you have any debt. And the second thing are your cash inflows and your cash outflows. These are simply big terms for income and expenses. Once you have that jotted down, you really need to think how to get to the financial goals. You do a reverse engineering. If you're already there, why take the risk ahead? And if you aren't there, you probably need to start thinking today. You need to start earning more. You need to start saving more. You need to start investing in assets which have a probability of a higher return. And let's just say, if I were to put it, the bedrock has to be protecting. So protection has to be the bedrock.
Security
Whatever you
and
invest,
protection.
yeah, security and protection. Over that is built, and then we have compound. So it really depends on where a person is. Usually, and again, this is a rule of thumb, I've seen people who take some time to sit down for financial planning are quite close to their financial goals. So return isn't usually an issue. Protecting their assets is, they want to make big decisions, so they want to have clarity on that, and clarity is power. And sometimes they need to just be sure that whatever they are doing is secure, it's aligned. Because when someone sits down for calculation, he's quite close to the goal actually. So simply the return isn't the thing that we're always discussing. Youngsters, in their case, the return is a factor that has to be drilled into, but otherwise usually no.
So forget wealth, forget investing.
Yes.
Forget finance,
Got it.
which is probably a nightmare sentence to you because you love it so much.
And I think it has become a slightly mundane for you as well. Been going up and down the same topic.
What do you think a rich life actually looks like?
Oh, being able to sleep comfortably, as sweet as a baby, and sometimes being able to take some time off. Time is the most important. It's priceless. There are 2 options. Either you could flash your Rolex in your office, or probably take a Tuesday off for brunch. What, according to you, is wealthy? The Tuesday off. Doing that guilt-free, without any hesitation, knowing that your finances are well stocked up, knowing nobody will have a headache. That's the best way to do it.
And for you, what's a rich life?
That same Tuesday brunch.
Tuesday brunch.
Yes, indeed. No doubt about it.
I know where I'll find you on a Tuesday, then you'll not be in the office.
If I'm not there, you know where to find me.
Yeah, I'll know where to look. Well, this has been incredibly insightful. I do have blocks around money. I'm not going to pretend I don't. But it's fascinating to hear someone else's point of view and to know how it's all driven by emotions and
Absolutely.
human behavior and how we think. But it's been a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for giving me your time. And I'm sure that more people will be open to financial planning.
Absolutely.
As we move forward.
Indeed. And it was great being here on the podcast. Really grateful. And looking forward to connect on more talks And hopefully next time we'll discuss a lot on girl math as well.
Thank you again.
Indeed. Pleasure is mine. Thank you, Sonia.